Hello, Orville Nation. Welcome, everybody. And it's time for more Orville. Wow. We got, let me get rid of my echo. I'll find the echo now. Well, it's good to see everybody here. And what an episode it was. Seth was writing on social media that this is a John Cassar special. Wow. I can totally see it. Of course, John Cassar did 24, among other things. Well. Let's say hello to everybody. And hello, everybody. Welcome, Orville Nation. It's a fantastic season 3 that we are having. Let me just make sure I want to keep track of all our guests. And let me just make sure we have things working correctly. And all right. Good to see you all. Hello. Let's see. Whoops. I got to get back to StreamYards. Where's StreamYards? There you go. All right. Hello, Netter. Good to see you, Netter. Hello, Joy Dawn. Nice to see you, Joy Dawn. Deej. Yeah. See, we got Orville. We've got two episodes so far. And it was not canceled or postponed, Deej. And hello, Adega, doctor and author and Dr. Adega Alwa. Good to see you. I will be the party pooper for this episode. I was not surprised with anything. Sorry. No hate, please. All right, guys. Everybody pile on Adega. I'm just kidding. No, there's never hate for Adega. Hello, Louise. Hello, Jeff B. Moreville, yes. Hello, Writer Brothers. Hello. Hello, Fairy Black Mother. Good to see you, Asia. Let's see who we got. We had a lot of people. Pranakasha Productions is both in the chat and on the panel. He's waving to everybody in the background there. And good to see everybody. Pop culture curator. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see everyone. Chris Persia in the house. Max World Entertainment. Pollo Zapatos, excellent. Another writer brother there. Good to see everyone. Fabulous. So I think the best thing to do is to start to introduce our guests, of course. But let me just talk for a minute. I'm when we are doing these reaction reviews, there's a lot of people who have not seen the episode yet. So I'm only here until I'm not locked out any longer. Okay, Joy. Well, we hope that your being locked out gets resolved really quick. But enjoy yourself in the meantime. It's good to have you. And so what you guys will notice the difference when we're doing these reaction reviews to brand new episodes that we've waited for 3 years. I don't want to put up too many images. I usually have a lot of images prepared. I purposely do not do it because I don't want to give away, I don't want to desensitize anybody who hasn't seen it. Even people who have seen it, I don't want to desensitize this. This is brand new footage, brand new content from the Orville. And I think it's still kind of, even though we've seen it, I've seen it a couple times already. It's still virgin content in many ways because it's brand new. So that being said, let's bring in our first contestant from the Midwest, from the Windy City. Well, I want everybody to give a nice warm welcome to Papa Papelli.
Hi, I'm going to try to turn my camera on. I've been having camera problems on, so I might have to take that off. But,
that's very Papa Papelli. That's very Godfather-ish of you.
Well, this is just I figure if I'm going to be on stream, I got to look good, so I got to dress like I was going out.
What do you mean you're still on season 1, Deej? I don't even believe you. Deej is not. Deej just watched all of it. I like seeing the security chief in action. Yeah, that was great.
She's a wow.
There you go. Howdy howdy from another sombrero, from one sombrero to another. And hello to Netter. Good to see you, Netter. All right. Troy, by the way, I'm sorry. What is coming up on Troy Papelli channel?
Tomorrow, actually, I'm having a very, very special guest tomorrow, and he's here in the chat. Adega Outlaw is going to be my guest behind the bar, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his craft and what it's like to be an author.
Wow.
I've been looking forward.
We got to help you out with that. We do watch parties or something. I'll talk to you. So Adega Outlaw is great. By the way, let me see if I can do it while we set up. Somebody sent me a picture of Adega's new hardcover, and if I can get that, I'm going to show it. In the meantime, tell us what's the direction of your channel, and what's the vision for your channel, Troy?
I have no idea. I really keep it laid back. My regular the cornerstone is the Friday night live stream. I call it Friday Night Last Call because I know everyone's busy on Fridays. There's so many channels doing so many live streams, but I run it late, and I figure you can stop by and have a last drink with me before you really go into your weekend. But I do some rewatches there, some watch parties. I do some commentary on whatever happens. I did 2 on the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial just because it was, a big deal. I'm having a mega pint, in fact, to celebrate Johnny and his victory.
Was that mixed by Netter?
Well, it's actually just wine.
Oh, just fine. Okay.
Because it's what Johnny was drinking out of his mega pint, so I figured why not.
Any comment on Netter's comment here? Mix really strong drinks.
She does. There was a night. Okay, so back when the whole situation happened in Eastern Europe, I had to start the show out, I did a taste contest. I lined up a Russian and an American vodka, and I had no idea which was which, and I tasted both, and I said whichever one I thought was better, Netter was going to make me a martini with it. Well, it turns out that the Smirnoff won, and she made me a double. And I was pretty blotto by the end of that stream. I actually don't even remember ending the stream, which is why it's a good thing that I have, a co-host to help me end the stream and get me out of there safely.
Okay. Guys, I want to go ahead and welcome a gentleman who is tuning his guitar in the background.
Oh, yes.
From the West Coast, Matt from Pranakasha Productions. Welcome, Matt.
Now, I forgot to warn you that you should never say welcome and Matt next to each other.
Welcome.
Bienvenidos, Matt.
Bienvenidos, amigos. So, question, that rockin' guitar thing we heard as the show was starting, was it only backstage or was everybody hearing that?
Everybody was.
Okay, so that's what we got here.
Oh, damn.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, had to
Thank
do it.
you. Well, that's awesome, dude.
Oh
Cheers.
yeah.
I was wondering what you were doing.
Yeah. Well, luckily I didn't put on my cowboy Matt hat. So, yeah, I'm glad to be
tell us
back.
about your channel and what's going on in your channel, Matt. You have a lot going on.
Yeah, Pranakasha Productions has been. Some people say you got to take drugs to watch my channel, especially if you watch the tag I put at the end. So, but you don't have to take drugs. You just have to be that kind of a person who likes to free associate quite a bit. So, but I will say I've been doing a lot of interviews lately, and I just interviewed Larry Nemeczek yesterday, who's kind of a well-known guy in the Star Trek world.
For those of us who don't know, I mean, I do know, but for those who don't know, do you want to be, because that name rings a bell to people, but they might not know exactly what he does.
Okay, so he was in Star Trek Continues. He played Dr. McCoy for I think 1 or 2 episodes, and then he's got his own podcast called Trekland, and he's also called Dr. Trek. And his wife, I found out, was a script consultant or script something or another for Star Trek Voyager for like 6 years. So
wow,
they got a lot of connections, and he's got a table in various cons and Star Trek conventions and so on, and he knows a whole bunch of people in the industry, and as an author and so on. Anyway, really interesting guy. We just did the interview yesterday, and I just edited it today, and I sent it to him, and I'm waiting for him to approve it. Once he approves it, then I'll publish it. So it's really good.
okay, wow.
The good thing is that even though he's a Star Trek guy, we started off talking a lot about the Orville right at the beginning, and then we went off into our Star Trek land and various tangents for about an hour, and then at the end we started talking about the Orville again. So it's all good.
Wow, excellent.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us what's your next stream about?
My next stream
on YouTube.
So, well, okay. I guess actually I don't actually live stream that often, but I will be doing a live stream at the end of the month on Saturday, June 25th, where we're going to premiere my cello concerto that I've been writing for like over 10 years. And then I'm also going to be the soloist playing it. We're going to be playing it we're playing the Weiss cello concerto. My name's Matt Weiss in real life. Here I'm called Pranakasha Matt. But anyways, we're playing the Weiss cello concerto live in the Seattle area, and it will be live streamed. And then of course, cool. I'm going to make a YouTube video of it that will also be on Pranakasha Productions later on. So I'm super excited about that.
Very cool, my friend. Awesome.
Yeah.
And tell us real quick about that project that you were doing with JP?
Are you talking about Egotastic Trek?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So JP and I have a Star Trek fan series, which is basically what it really is it's a combination of Star Trek and the Orville. So I'm the captain. I'm called Captain Matthew A. Hardinger, who's in temporary command of the USS Enterprise because Captain Kirk had a mental breakdown, and the good Dr. McCoy has confined him to his quarters. So I have to step in and take over. And the crux of it is that I'm kind of a hard ass, and the rest of the crew hates me. So I have no friends. The only friends I have are my hologram in my quarters, and then a Horta named Juliet, who I talk to, and then of course my bottle of Telosian bourbon. Those are my 3 friends. And anyways, JP's in the show because he has a ship called the Egotastica. So, and that's he's Captain JT Powell. T stands for Teddy Bear Theodore, but the nickname is Teddy Bear. Anyways, we have 3 episodes out that are really good, and I've been slaving away trying to get episode 4 done. I've been doing it for like 9 months, and my new goal is to get episode 4 out before I go to Star Trek Las Vegas in August, so I can show it off to all the folks there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I urge everybody to check that out.
Yeah, it's wild.
I'll be putting up these 3 channels as we speak. The third one belongs to the gentleman we're bringing on right now. And of course, George Peter Gatsis never shows up himself. He always sends his furry blue companion, Joe King, to engage with us. So welcome, Joe King. Hello, Joe King. Oh, you're muted,
Joe King. You're muted.
But you look awfully good.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings,
George.
everybody. Oh, I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. What is new on George Peter Gatsis's channel?
We're streaming live movie. We roast movies Friday nights and Saturday nights at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time on my channel, live. Public domain, copyrighted movies, everything that we're allowed under YouTube. And this week we're doing Vincent Price. And
nice.
And every night, but we also clean up the movies. We don't just throw the movies on the screen as is. We clean it up and we clean them up. We clean up the picture, clean up the audio, so that way you get the best possible presentation. And it's really exciting.
That's impressive.
Thank you. You should check it out. Captain Marvel, I think, is one of our best double features.
The old serial.
Yeah, the old serial. We cut it together into 2 solid 2-hour movies, but we also redid the visual effects in his transformation, and added additional visual effects like speed running, like the Flash.
Nice.
And other stuff. It's
I'll have to check
really
that out.
amazing. And we roast the heck out of it. I mean, it's on the screen while we're watching it. We're roasting it on the panel.
Nothing like fresh roasted movies.
Oh yes, absolutely. And then every night at 10:00 at night, we do a roundup of the news for 1 hour on my channel, as we pick all the news that we can shove into a tight 1 hour show where we try to get through as much of the craziness in the world. That way you're up to date with what's going on around you. Every night.
And George should be monetized. He needs subs. He's got his hours.
Oh
already,
yes,
so,
please. If
so
you
please
guys
do.
we blew past our 4,000 hours,
Right.
but we're stuck at 420.
But that's a special number.
I know. If everyone can just sub to us to get us through to up to 1,000, that'd be great. Sub to us. You don't even have to watch the show. But if you want to come by and catch a new show, or come by and catch us roasting a movie, that'd be great. But help us get to the 1,000, so that way we can do actually additional movie nights that we couldn't do right now.
Can I suggest a movie to put on your set list?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a Marlon Brando movie in black and white called On the Waterfront.
I think that's under full copyright. I don't think I can play that.
Yeah, possibly.
All right.
I'm already subscribed, but I just realized that I didn't have the notification bell. So make sure you hit that notification bell too, people. You might be subscribed to some great content and don't even realize it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let me just say, let's check out, see who's in the chat here, who's arrived lately since we started the chat, the program. Hello, Time Prophet. Good to see you from the UK. Dr. Dega, who is doing that stream tomorrow. And Pop Culture. Lord Thoth. Good to see you, Lord Thoth. Hopefully you can join us again another day. Deej, don't make me have to drive 180 to start to party hard. Trey, good to see you, Trey. DJ
good
Ronnie, Larry, Jeff B, Captain Phantom Nerd, Fairy Black Mother, Netter, and Joy Dawn. Hopefully she's still watching. Jeff B, good to see everyone. Louise, good to see everyone, guys. All right, Writer Brothers are here and in various shapes and forms. The Writer Brothers, that little group from a new channel, great channel. All right, guys, I want to remind everybody to please use your wrenches if you are a trusted creator, and please put in your channels, guys. Clabby, good to see you guys. Good to see guys. Good to see you, Clabby. One guy, just one guy. Clabby's one guy. Awesome. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, let's start out with a panel. There's a few more people who could jump in here shortly. But meanwhile, I want to start from the top. I want to ask, Godfather Papelli here.
Yeah.
Papa Papelli.
Yeah.
What would you rate the show from 1 to 10?
A 9.
A 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to give us the why? And before Troy answers, I want to throw that question out to everybody in the chat. What would you rate episode 2, Shadow Realms? What would you rate Shadow Realms from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest? So that question I posed to everybody in the chat. Go ahead, Troy. I'm sorry.
So maybe I'm being a little soft here, but I think maybe because of by comparison to all the other entertainment we're getting out there, I sat and watched this and I was like, you know what? I felt like I was transported back to the next generation. You know what I mean? And I know that people say this about Orville all the time, but I was like, yeah, these guys get it. They have a way of doing sci-fi, doing it new, doing their own thing, but with that feel that is nostalgic. We're looking at a 3rd season here, but it's evoking the nostalgia from the 90s. That's what's really awesome about this. It's incredibly dramatic, but in the vein of Next Generation, it's still kind of a standalone episode. So if you've never seen the Orville before, you can still jump in and watch it, not have a problem there. Not that it doesn't have, connections to the overarching, story that's still there too. But it also speaks to a lot of the tropes of sci-fi. I don't know how close you want to get to spoilery territory, but
we can talk spoilers. That's a heads up to everybody. We can talk spoilers.
Well, I won't be truly spoilery, but
yeah.
I will get real close. Okay. There is elements of, for example, Alien. Alien is definitely homaged in this episode. And many of the tropes of similar types of things. I even like there's a I didn't actually hear the interview, but I've heard secondhand about an interview with the writer of Alien, who said that he was trying to evoke a feeling of a haunted house in space, right? And they actually refer to entering a haunted house in this episode. So I have to believe they knew exactly what they were getting at when they did this. Some very creepy elements, some evocation of The Fly, so some horror elements there. But with all of the homages that it does to so many things, it still manages to be completely its own thing. It's still completely original and completely brilliant. Why do I give it a 9 and not a 10? Well, I very rarely give a 10. It's got to be perfect. And I don't think it was perfect, but man, it was really, really good.
Okay, great. Let me continue with Matt for the next one, but let me really quick bring in a friend of the channel who we have been wanting to welcome for a very long time. I want us everybody give a nice warm welcome to BURR, who is backstage. Welcome, BURR. Good to see you.
Cheers.
Did we hear? Was that you? Who said cheers?
No, it was me.
Oh, then you might be muted, BURR. You might be muted.
Yep, not hearing anything.
Yeah, we're not hearing you, BURR.
Nope. Still nothing.
Yeah, we're not hearing you. If you wanna, let's see.
He's the strong silent type.
Louder. Speak louder.
Better. Nope, that wasn't you. I don't know.
Yeah.
BURR, why don't you leave and come back in? Because I think something's wrong here with maybe leave and come back in.
Okay. Obviously, he's hearing you, PJ.
Yeah. So. Okay. So let's continue, Matt, and if you're in the chat, please continue to put in your ratings for this episode. I'm going to go ahead and read them. Go ahead, Matt. What did you rate this episode?
Okay, well, in the tradition of amped up guitars, I'm first going to rate episode 1 as an 11.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then that way, that allows me to rate episode 2 as a 10.
Oh, okay.
So, so episode 2 in my mind was totally horror, sci-fi horror. And then, like when they're in the spoiler alert, I'm gonna do some spoilers. When they're in that sort of cave, organic cave, and then the Admiral comes across these things that look kind of like sea anemones.
Yeah.
And it's kind of pulsating, and then he starts moving his face towards it. I'm immediately thinking, dude, have you not seen Alien?
Right, face hugger,
For God's
right?
sake, get your face away from that thing.
Or Stargate.
Yeah. Luckily, it didn't just come out and just, grab him alien style. It just kind of, did a little mist, which turned out to be just about as bad. Yeah, so there was that. Also,
so you really like last week's episode, right? You said
11.
The first one, episode 1. Well, yeah, I cried halfway through it. I started crying, and then I couldn't stop. And then even now, every time I think about that episode, I start tearing up and start crying.
Yeah.
So I mean, that indicates something. So yeah, this one, I kind of didn't sleep too well last night because I had some pretty weird dreams after episode 2. So yeah, I mean, basically to me, it was obvious that they decided, oh, we're going to do a horror episode. And then they're going to do all the kind of signature tricks that you do in a horror show, like everything's in the dark. And then like when people came up and grabbed them and like, whoa. And it turns out, it's just another crew member. And obviously, in my opinion, that was just kind of a joke, So for that episode, to tell you the truth, I'm not a super horror fan. So for me, it wouldn't be my favorite episode of the season just because of that.
Okay.
But it was obvious to me that they're like, okay, let's have fun with the horror genre this week.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's try and let's continue with George, but let me try. Oh, we just lost him. I was going to bring in BURR, but we just lost him. And let me welcome Captain Fandom Nerd. Hello, Captain Fandom. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, George, go ahead. What do you rate from 1 to 10?
I give this a 5. Maybe.
A 5. Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Or less.
Okay. Why?
First of all, Star Trek did it better, way better. Picard, in situations like this, Picard would be on the ship, and you send number one down. We've seen it many times in Star Trek: The Next Generation, many times.
Okay.
Secondly, they're going to a completely alien environment. There is no way you would go there without a protective outfit.
Right. I thought that too. Yeah.
That didn't make any sense at all. It was like logic's come completely out the door right there. It's just on that little point. Secondly, I just want to formulate the whole premise is that they're going into unknown territory. Great, no problem. We get that. The environment that they're going in is completely black space with something in the middle. We've seen that already in the original Star Trek series with a cell. When they now it gets even better. The whole alien gag, yeah, no problem. The whole gag with the fly, Jeff Goldblum, and the original with Vincent Price as a supporting role, yes, it's all there. Great. The gag that the big bad is a sort of a Cthulhu type creature, it's good. It's good, but you haven't seen it. I've already seen it before. Third Space, Babylon 5. They had this whole entire concept that we just saw played out for the Orville in Third Space, Babylon 5. Now, the thing that really piques my curiosity is that I said in the last review episode that we did, they have to bring a big bad in here to make the robots, the Talons, is it? Seem insignificant, and I think this is what Seth MacFarlane and crew are doing. Why? Because when they were heading towards black space or dark space, and it was big, it was a huge dark area. Well, that technically speaking, Seth MacFarlane really loves sci-fi and and facts. You know, what I call it, scientific facts. And I think it wasn't he a producer on the new Cosmos?
He is, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
And he has a great one-to-one relationship with Neil deGrasse Tyson, which means that when I saw the darkness, that told me that what we're seeing right now is just the tip of the iceberg. This is not the big bad that we are encountering. That big, bless you. That big darkness. There is something there that's actually preventing light from hitting you. It's so big that its silhouette hasn't been recognized yet. They only see it as one big blot of dark space, and that's one thing that they haven't really addressed a lot in terms of scale in science fiction. They touched upon it in Babylon 5, that you would come across civilizations and aliens who dwarf your scale. And we're talking about Galactus level, celestial level, even bigger. You know, it's not unfathomable if you're traveling, in galaxies or within a galaxy, many different solar systems. Of course, you're going to come across creatures that are significantly bigger than you are. They touched upon that in Star Trek again, and also Next Generation, with creatures that literally dwarfed, a human. He dwarfed a starship, and it's great. And this is where I think it's going. And that's why I say it's 5, because the premise of the entire story hinges on sending the captain and his number one down to something unknown. And that's utterly ridiculous.
We've of course seen that happen gazillion times in
yes, we have
science fiction and Trek, right?
Yeah, we have, but like I said, Next Generation, they did it best with Riker going down into unknown danger, and
Okay.
then going down there without an environment suit. That's everything else after that is what do you call it? Mired in muck, so
You
to
know,
speak.
I've always thought it was really silly in Trek in general that they didn't use environmental suits, but at the same time, well, actually, not at the same time, but basically, I guess their logic is that their transporters are going to filter it out, and if not, their med bay is going to figure it out if something happens. However, I don't think it's the most sound. I agree, it's not the most sound.
Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, the reason why they did that, it was a budgetary thing, is that back in the original series, they didn't want to have to put on spacesuits every week.
Oh no, that's completely understandable. But the environments that the original series went to were actually friendly environments to what the human friendly environments. In the movie Wrath of Khan, they actually used environment suit and so forth. And Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Next Generation, everything up until the new stuff that just happened in the last 5 years.
Mhm.
They used environment suits where it was absolutely necessary, and they did it great. They did it well. I mean, it was fantastic. Babylon 5, they use environment suits every chance they get.
Yeah.
Because they're going into
Well,
unknown territory.
At least they went back with environment suits.
Yes,
Yeah, that was interesting.
Well, the thing is, they went back with environment suits, which tells me that everybody on the away mission, so to speak, was actually infected. And here's the plot twist to the whole thing: this creature is infecting people and transforming them. Okay, I get it. But given that the entire ship has lost power, and there's only a handful of people still walking around, trying to figure out what's going on, what happened to everybody else? Was everybody else infected by these creatures? And now, ladies and gentlemen, is the big humdinger at the end. They make a deal with the creature not to release the bio gas that will kill him. How did the creature leave the ship?
Well, yeah, that's not it wasn't even shown, right?
Yeah, they just skip right over that. It was like, whoa. I'm going like, what just happened here? I mean, you've done this great big setup. You've got this like alien type story, from Alien 1, Ridley Scott, or is it the other guy? I forgot.
Yeah, Medallion. I thought that too. I thought they were just going to kill the bad guys with COVID. I thought that too.
Yeah. Well, it was a COVID. I mean, you could hear there was a reference to COVID.
Anyway, also, if you go backwards to War of the Worlds, it's the little fellow that you got to watch out for.
All right, excuse me one sec, guys. I need to welcome back BURR. Let's see if we can hear you now, BURR. Welcome, BURR.
Right. Let's give this a shot. Hey, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, sound good.
Yeah, I think so. There's a little lag there, but yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Yeah, new equipment.
Okay, that's better. I think it's better now.
Okay, so I'm finishing off the ending. You don't know how they got off the ship. Did they give them a complimentary ship, which means they're actually giving up tech to an unknown species that wants to kill them, or did the species actually send their ship to pick up the people? How many people were infected? Because there's no backtrack. There's no backsies on trying to cure the people. There's that alien life form. So how many people on the ship got transformed? These are actual hardcore impact questions that have not been answered, but they set it all up.
George, do you think that COVID itself and the difficult situation with COVID may have affected any of the filming of these episodes?
Well, possibly, because that's why we got a big pause in it. Other than Seth doing his wonderful deal making in Hollywood, but you can easily bring the questions I just said to a conclusion by having the captain reading something in his journal.
Okay.
And we're done. We're satisfied. We got a satisfied ending. This is not a satisfied ending. They set it all up, and they missed the goal.
Okay.
At that point.
We'll have to see if it's a standalone episode or if there's going to be some follow up later on or not.
Oh, well, it's definitely going to be a follow up because the creature said, this is not over, or words to that effect.
Guys, let me get to Captain Fandom and BURR, but let me run really quickly through the chat's rankings. Time Prophet says 7 out of 10 because it was just too convenient, finding the object too quick. They should have got lost at first. Okay. I haven't seen episode 2 yet, says Netter. Jeff B says 8.5. Love the face hugger vibe and the broccoli vibe.
Yes, I caught that too.
Yeah, the face hugger. Well, yeah.
Clobberin says, I'd rate this episode a 7.5. Good for sure. I gave last week a 9.5. Okay. So Clobby says, really like last week.
That's kind of like how they have different warp scales in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Max World Entertainment, Trey rates us a 7.5. Okay. The Writer Brothers, PD, I think this is PD, 10 out of 10 for the Writer Brothers. They really liked it. And Fairy Black Mother, Asia, agreed it's a 9. It's groovy, but I feel they were still getting their feet wet this season. I feel they're getting Battlestar Galactica-ish. Okay. Gotcha. Episode Netter says episode 1 she would rate 10 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we could see Isaac in a red dress, that would be interesting.
Battlestar, I see what you did there.
All right, Captain Fandom, are you there? Yep. You're muted, Cap. What did you rate this one, Cap?
9 out of 10.
Okay. You want to tell us why?
Actually, I loved the whole episode. Now, there were things, obviously, that I think they paid homage to. But honestly, I think they did it better. The one thing that I had issue with that I was going to mention was the environmental suits. So if they hadn't gone back with them, I wouldn't have had the issue with it. But the fact that they went over without the environmental suits to begin with, it's like that's a little fishy to begin with. And then they went back with them. It's like,
But they did throw in that obligatory sentence where it's like, oh, the biofilters must not be working, so now we got to use the biosuits.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
All right.
a little bit of hubris, right? They learned a lesson, right? I felt there was a little bit of setup when they were talking about, are we even going to believe this? This is all religious mumbo jumbo. Well, maybe it's based on something real. And then they learned the hard way. Yeah, it's absolutely based on something real. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, but we're scientists. We can handle it with our sciencey science. And then their science fails them because then they have to realize, oh, what we consider to be life forms isn't a universal. Maybe there's some life out there that's not as we know it, so to speak, right? A lot of hubris here. So all of these points, I think they did kind of address with a little bit of a smackdown.
I think it's. Let me just say, I think it is intentional. I think it is intentional that they wanted to show the hubris. Also, let me just recognize Medallion rates it a 8 out of 10. Yeah, I still enjoy this episode,
Despite the issues,
even those issues. So thank you, Medallion. Go ahead, George. Go ahead.
I think the first of the 2 best jokes in the show were religion's very confusing. That's why priests are rich.
Yeah, okay. I saw that too.
that,
I know. Well,
that,
the
that
priest
was
is still around, right? Is
that, 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 that was a great gag. And the other one is maybe it should pop right off. Maybe you're doing it wrong. I thought that was
Oh,
a great
yeah.
gag too.
Mhm.
That was a great setup.
All right, let's get through this rating. Burr, what did you think? And by the way, Burr, you don't have a channel right now, do you? A YouTube channel?
I do. It's Heroic Pose Studio. Um, I've been lacking, but yeah, I've got some stuff on there.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want, if you write a comment in the chat, I will give you a wrench so you can post it.
Okay.
But go ahead. It's good to see you, my friend. It's finally night. I'm glad to meet you. Finally, it's an honor.
Yeah.
What did you rate this episode?
I think eight out of 10 is a fair assessment. I'm an optimistic guy. You know what? I can float over a lot of loopholes and stuff, but the ending kind of felt rushed. And then I still have that question too: is how did they get back to their ship? Because they didn't give them a shuttle, and even my wife, who's just kind of a casual watcher, was still also like, how did they get back? Did they crawl back or? So yeah, there's a couple of loopholes that kind of bothered me a little bit, but all in all, I mean, Scott Grimes bringing it, Jaylee bringing it. I still had fun, but yeah, there was a couple of loopholes. Also, where did everybody go? I mean, and I thought maybe that was a COVID thing while they were filming, is they couldn't afford a bunch of extras, and so maybe they just got the main cast to show up, something like that. But if you did this kind of story on, say, the Enterprise D, I would believe empty corridors. But because the Orville's a little smaller, it felt strange only running into like one security guy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Unless there's some kind of general quarters. I mean, I don't know. Let me just say, guys, my rating, I gave this a 9.0. 9. I give it a 9. My big thing with this episode was the fact that Claire says to her ex-husband.
Yeah.
Claire says to her ex-husband, "I promise I will cure you." And next thing we know, she's telling him, "You better leave the ship. You remember I was really stubborn." So I thought that she would have fought more to keep him to find a cure for him. However, for story reasons, these are obvious story reasons. We are going to bump into these people again, to these aliens again. That's probably why they had to let him go. But anyway, that's my kind of gripe with this episode. The fact that she promised to cure him and she was telling him, "You better leave the ship." So
I also had a problem. I didn't know him that well. I just felt like I really didn't. I didn't care if he turned into an alien. I needed to. Maybe if this went on for like 2 episodes, if he hung around, created some problems, something like that. But I just didn't know the guy well enough to care that he turned into an alien.
Gotcha. But even though it was her ex-husband, she sort of, you could tell that she, like down deep inside, you could tell she cared for him.
Yeah.
Can I just say that I really do feel like Penny Johnson is the driving force behind this season? I mean, she is just. I mean, I was a fan before this, Cassidy Yates and so forth. But oh my gosh, I wasn't here for a talk on the first episode, but there was that scene where she sits down in the club or whatever on the holodeck. And let me just say, there's a lot of people talking about a lot of different shows these days, and everyone seems to have an opinion about pacing. Oh, the pacing is so off. The pacing in that scene was perfect. She
Absolutely,
has not a word, not a single word. And let me tell you, and she even had the setup, right? With the whole, I don't feel anything. I've cut myself off. I need to, put the marble in my mouth to get the saliva going, Oh my gosh. Then the waterworks start. And I was just gripped. And you couldn't have done that quicker. They didn't stretch it out too far. It was just perfect. By the end of that, I was nearly losing it, And then you compare it to, I'm watching the Amber Heard trial going, well, there's an actress who doesn't know how to cry.
Yeah, and the other thing about Penny's performance is a lot of what she does is it's all visual and body language. It's not even she does a lot of times. It's not the line she says. It's just how she just delivers the mood just by being so much in character.
Yeah.
It really felt like they gave her all the time in the world to do that scene, which was great.
Yep.
Let me just say that I think they gave her even more time than you guys might think, because if I'm not mistaken from what I heard Tom say, they broke filming while they were starting to film that episode, and they went back while she was in the restaurant, in the empty restaurant, and they went back to filming, to complete that scene. So they gave her there was a lot of time for that. I just want to address, absolutely, Medallion. For sure.
Can I throw one other thing in really fast? Is that the other amazing thing in episode 1 was there were a couple moments where somehow Mark Jackson, had these moments where he had no lines, and just through his body language, you could see the emotion of that moment.
Yep.
Through all that armor. So I think that's amazing. I don't know how he does it, but somehow he conveys emotion to that entire setup.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me just say, guys, absolutely, Medallion too. She will cure him. It seems pretty evident that at some point that's gonna come up, and totally agree. Let me just catch up with the chat really quick, guys. Death is an effective cure.
Well, good point.
She would never have promised something she couldn't deliver, says. She was convinced that she would somehow find a way. Dr. Finn, second Dr. Finn episode centric. Yeah, 2 Dr. Finn episodes centric in a row. Yeah. James Reed was the episode of Blue Thunder and Fantasy Island. That's right. He sounds familiar. He looks familiar. She was great in 24. She was great in 24. Okay. Yeah, a lot of the heavy lifting that's seen in restaurant. All right, guys. Let me just catch up with this chat here. And listen, there's obviously medical staff missing. And again, this may be COVID related. And the fact that there were people missing in the hallways might have been just a creative decision to create spookiness, or it might be a fact that it's COVID related. So who knows? Yes. Oh, that was great. Seeing Tala kick ass. That was great to see her kicking ass.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We have a few people who are going to be joining us in about 5 or 10 minutes. And tell us really quick, BURR, because we haven't had you on here before. Tell us really quick, what is your channel about? What are you about? You're very active in the Orville fandom. You want to just tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm pretty much just a geek of all trades. I mean, if anybody doesn't know, you can just go to Google and hashtag Selfie Dad, and that pretty much tells you my entire bio. Because I went viral all over the world and ended up talking to people like Piers Morgan, and it was weird.
Wow.
Basically, I was copying my daughter's selfies because I had a bunch of costumes laying around because I'm a huge cosplayer. I've been cosplaying for like 30 years. I've been in the 501st for 16 years, going on 17 years. I host the Lilac City Comic Con costume contest every year. So just a big geek. I have a Nissan Cube outside parked right now that is dressed up like the Ecto-1, and that is my regular car I drive around town.
Is that a Rebel flight suit in the background?
That is my Rebel Legion Rebel flight suit. I'm trying to get my Imperial officer a little duct tape mannequin. I've got the Red Guardian shield. I've got a Red Guardian cosplay that I'd really love to wear, but thanks, Russia, I can't wear that right now. And then there's Ghostbuster backpack sitting behind me. So yeah, this is my little man cave.
Cool.
Awesome. Starting at the top, Papa Pacelli, what was something that most surprised you of this episode?
Well, this isn't a bad surprise. I was a little surprised, and I guess it's just because the recent entertainment is, got me trained, right? I expected this to flow directly from last episode. I was expecting it to feel like the second part of, a two-part or whatever you want to call it. But in the tradition of the old Next Generation 90s type shows, it stands on its own. It doesn't, how do I say it, especially for those that haven't seen it? It doesn't ignore what happened before in episode 1, but at the same time, it's not so predicated on it. You can't just jump into this episode without it. That is a surprise these days. Imagine trying to do that with, say, episode 2 of Stranger Things. You'd be like, what's going on? We missed an episode here. That doesn't happen here. That's probably my biggest surprise.
Okay. Great. Matt Pranakasha, what was one of the things that surprised you the most about this episode?
Well, one, I wasn't expecting to see a horror episode on the Orville. I mean, right there was a surprise. But also the other thing that just kind of stuck out, and it's not really a surprise, but I mean, when you had like the captain, number 1, and an admiral all leaving the ship, going over to this completely unknown, dangerous situation, that struck me as being a bit much.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, the fact that the admiral too was captain, first officer, and the admiral, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Then again, listen, I know you guys said it, but we have seen these things happen before in sci-fi,
Right.
and in Trek. So
I mean, it's allowed in Star Trek. We overlook that. It's obviously for dramatic effect.
yeah.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to be ultra realistic, he would have sent a robot probe over there to check it out first before he sent anybody.
For sure.
Yeah.
Joe King, Georgie, what most surprised you about this episode?
I love the creature design. I love the creature design, and I noticed that they put a hub on the back of the creature, much like the creature from the Black Lagoon, which actually piques my interest because I think we may be getting underwater shots encountering these creatures in the future.
Interesting. Okay. Captain, what most surprised you about this episode?
Wow. Yeah, I was surprised by the fact that, well, the doctor was married before.
Yeah.
Like, she's what?
Yep.
And this is her ex. Okay.
I don't know. Listen, you know what? It doesn't surprise me so much that she has a history. Obviously, obviously he's not the father of the kids, right?
Right.
So I wasn't surprised so much as at the history myself. But go ahead, finish, Captain. I'm sorry.
No. That's it. That's fine.
Let me just, before I ask Burr, I want to ask everybody in the chat. We're going to go through it. Everybody in the chat, what was something that surprised you? What surprised you the most about this episode? So I'm throwing that question out to everyone in the chat. So please put up your answers, and we are going to go to Burr and ask him what he thought. What was one of the things that most surprised you, Burr, about the episode? We can't hear you.
Like the other guy, I was kind of surprised it was kind of a horror type episode. Oh, sorry. There we go. I was kind of shocked it was a horror episode the second episode, but I like the scary ones. Not all the time. A lot of it has the fake hologram thing and the giant spiders and all those. so I like the scary ones every now and then. The one of the best parts for me though was there's a moment in Star Trek: The Motion Picture where the three Klingon ships at the beginning they're flying, and they as soon as they see the cloud, you hear that kind of heavy piano note, and I saw the Orville sitting in front of that giant ship. I thought that was very cool.
Yep.
Wow.
Absolutely. Let me just say here, producer of Australia's Most Haunted, Joey, because it's in the shadow of the alternate universe that season 1 came from. So, yeah, this could be a slightly, again, there could be a slightly alternate reality here since the end of what happened in season 2. So that we got to keep that in mind, that we could be living a slightly altered reality here, which also, the tone, the definite different tone in the first episode, I think artistically suggests that we might be in a slightly altered timeline.
Right, and I don't know if you watched one of JP's, the Orville evangelist. He talked about that. He said, one of the reasons why everything looks slightly different is because even though they, quote, restored the timeline, they couldn't have completely restored it exactly the same as it was before. So there's going to be subtle differences now than there was in the previous timeline.
Yeah, and that will probably be addressed, you would think, right, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
At some point?
So that even explains why the Orville bridge looks a little different and all the sets are upgraded and everything's just slightly different.
Okay.
Yeah, this new timeline is a bigger budget.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Klingons have bumps. Okay, come on.
Let's me read what the chat wrote really quick. Douchebag Hollow says, I was surprised that her admiral ex-husband knew of her assignment, but didn't know she had kids. Yeah, you would think that that's true too, because the admiral probably would have looked at her personnel file, right?
Yeah, like don't they have Facebook in the Union?
Well, I actually kind of thought this through. I actually have. He said it's been 20 years or something like that. He's like, I'm sorry, it's been 20 years. It's probably too late, but I'm sorry. That infers to me that he's spent the past 2 decades not really in touch with her. So yeah, he probably hasn't been Facebook stalking her or anything like that. And that's pretty bad too, right? It's like, you don't just come back after all this time and say, hey, I'm here. Let's, have another relationship. It's like, no, you're kind of in less than zero territory here, pal.
Time Prophet says, what surprised me was that there was no Yaphet in this episode. That's true.
Could be budget again,
was Yaphet,
a lot of CG,
It may be that with the COVID restrictions, they did not let Yaphet film, perhaps.
Well, actually, you joked, but I had heard that some of the big feature films have a backlog of, like After Effects and CG work because of, those guys having been on lockdown for a while. Yeah. The techie guys.
Yeah. Not necessarily.
I thought they worked from their homes.
Yeah, the visual effects industry, they pivoted and
that's what they're blaming it on.
No, hold on a sec. I'll tell you what the backlog is. The visual effects companies, they offset the COVID issue by sending everybody who works for them to their houses with a full computer system, and they networked. All the visual effects companies did this. What the backlog was, and still is affecting Hollywood right now, is Star Wars 9, The Rise of Skywalker. J.J. Abrams and Disney scooped up every single visual effects company in the world to get to do like 3 or 4 iterations of that movie before they've had a final cut. They couldn't have done that with the crew that they had, which literally backed everybody 6 months to a year and a half. even Robert De Niro, who was really pissed. He had a movie on Netflix. He was complaining why everything is visual effects this and visual effects that. It was, and he was not happy because all these superhero movies are, no one's watching the movies that he makes and he's made throughout his history. And we're still feeling the effect now. And what's going on is that they're actually now changing the architecture of visual effects. They're including artificial intelligence when they're doing the visual effects for a feature film and a TV series to make stuff faster.
Let me just get this in real quick, guys. Yes, Medallion, absolutely. Kind of like Jordy stalked Leah Brahms, but didn't know she was married. That's a great point. Absolutely, that is a great point. Yeah, he would have been ideal on the away team. Yafet. No subbing to me. No, don't want to sub to Joe. He's spooky channel, very spooky channel. Just kidding. The weekly roundup radio show. Oh, okay, that's okay. 25% different reality. Yeah, 25% different.
Right. That was it. Yeah, that has to be 25% different from
That was funny.
the original.
Okay, that's the other channel for Joe from AMH. You want to follow that one? Weekly roundup radio show. Notice the little detail how the demon alien went up to Isaac's face, stared at him, but left because he knew there was no organic matter to take over. Yeah, that was very interesting. And yeah, that was very interesting. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Interesting. Did you notice that in episode 1, in the opening dream sequence, right at the end where Isaac became a monster, that his teeth looked kind of like this alien?
Mm.
Now we have to go back and look and compare and see how close the two are.
Can you repeat that, Matt? I didn't understand that.
Okay, so in episode 1, the opening dream sequence,
Yeah.
right at the end, right before he wakes up,
Oh, yeah.
Isaac
Okay.
becomes like a monster, and he's got teeth, right? So I'd want to go back now and see how close those teeth are to this alien's teeth.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean.
I think Isaac's going to betray the Federation again, or the Union. Sorry. The moment Isaac did not make any movement towards the alien or try to stop it, apprehend it, defeat it, whatever, it told me that he, because no one was looking, he actually spent time studying it rather than doing what he should have been doing, like everybody else was doing, trying to prevent these guys from doing bad things.
Gotcha.
Isaac will
But go ahead.
betray them
Yes,
by
that was a telltale sign.
by himself type of thing.
Not second guessing. Isaac is he had the opportunity. He had the opportunity to make an apprehension, stop the creature, but he didn't.
Yeah, but the thing is Isaac is like he's always studying everything. So I would think that was kind of his normal behavior, is just to observe this creature, in the moment, and just get as much data about that creature as he can.
You guys notice we haven't seen Clyden yet?
Oh yeah.
Is there a possibility that we are in a different alternate universe where there is something different going on with Bortus and Clyden? Is he on the Orville? Who knows?
I don't know. I feel like if that's the case, there should be some. I don't know. They need to be a little bit more overt with that, because right now the differences that we're talking about are too easily chalked up to things like COVID and budget and all kinds of things. Right now it's all, there's explanations behind the scenes why we don't have anything in the story, in the universe, that indicates an overt change. So if they want to get that across to us, they kind of need to kind of point us in that direction.
All right. First of all, did anybody think it was kind of nice? Wasn't it kind of nice that they had the full time they needed to tell the story? There's no way they could have told the story in 43 minutes, right?
Right.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you. Anybody on that? Anybody on the length of the of this episode, and how there's no way they could have told the story in 43 minutes?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed about streaming in general, there seems to be two different schools of thought on length of the production. One is locked into this mentality of it's got to be exactly this long so that we, if we want to, we can put it on network television with commercials, I guess. Then there's, the purely streaming model of it might be longer, it might be shorter. It's only ever going to be streaming without commercials, so we can do whatever we want with it. I personally feel this is the medium you're working in. That's how it should be. Let the editor and the writer and the director determine the length based on what that story ought to be.
Yeah.
They have no control over that.
Plus,
the producers have no control over a network airing their content on their network. The network can easily cut the show so they can shove more commercials into it. So whether they do it for 45 minutes or an hour and a half, the network will choose how long the actual show is in direct comparison to how much time they've sold for commercials.
Yeah, but I know when they started pitching Hulu and how great it was that we were going to be on Hulu now. I mean, that was one of the big points right off the bat, is that they wouldn't be locked into a set time. They could just make the episode be as long as it needed to be.
Well, and that's another thing. What they could do is that they can have a episode. They could put this on TV and just put last time on the Orville and just have the whole thing, the credits and all, and they could easily get 2 episodes out of it.
Have you, gentlemen, heard that next step into the streaming service is they're going to be including commercials now?
When I watched it, it had commercials.
There's an option to have commercials.
Yeah. So my version of Hulu, it does have commercials in it.
Yeah. Is that what you meant, George?
Yeah. Commercials are going to become the standard across all streaming services soon.
Yeah, I had commercials, and there was like 4 different points, or 4 or 5 different points in the episode where the commercials would pop up, including the beginning. You were going to say something, Burr?
Yeah, I can see it that way. I mean, they have to. They've got to pay some bills. I'm an old school guy, so yeah, I've done a lot of radio shows. Sometimes you need that commercial to just kind of break it up and go to the next scene. So I don't care too much about the commercials.
Yeah, and I personally am immune to it. Well, actually, to tell you the truth, I actually like commercials because I'm fascinated by them, because I always want to figure out how they're going to get their message across in 30 seconds, so I kind of look at it as an art form. But also, I'm so used to watching YouTube and having a commercial just slam right in there with no notice at all, and then disappear after you click skip commercial. So I've sort of gotten used to it.
Well, Matt pointed out, having been old school and whatnot, but they say history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And the same thing happened to us. Those of us that remember when cable first started, they used to call it pay TV. And it was so great because you paid for it, and therefore there were no commercials. And what happened over time? You ended up getting commercials. And so when the streaming services started, all of us, 80s kids that remembered cable were like, yeah, we know how this goes. And so no surprises here.
Yeah.
I have to point out that commercials, while they are sometimes annoying, over time, if the show airs with the original commercials, over time you will actually look at the commercials and have a moment in time in history.
Right.
Yeah.
Example. If you go looking for old TV shows, where in the title says VHS copy of whatever,
Yep.
you'll they don't cut the commercials. You see the commercials. You see The Price is Right with Bob Barker. With dark hair. Everybody's young. Price is Right. Today. Blah blah blah. It's, buy chiclets or buy spearmint gum. All that stuff.
Life cereal. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Yes.
Star Wars holiday specials, a great
Yes.
one for that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, especially the hey Mikey,
I'm with
he's
Matt.
eating it. Yeah.
All right, guys, let me ask you this question. Now,
I have to make
as soon as the episode started, well, not soon, but very soon since it started, I was pretty surprised that they said that they were getting permission to go through krill space and they were going to end up going into the expanse. So anybody have anything to say about that one? Because that's a
May the force
May
be
the force be
with you.
too. Yeah.
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 I missed that.
Of course, the expanse was what they had to go through in season 3 of Enterprise,
Yep.
to get the people who had attacked Earth.
Yep.
Troy, you were going to say something about the expanse?
No. I caught that, and I'm sure that was intentional. And it's not super overt because that is a perfectly applicable,
True.
spacefaring term, right? But yeah, every fan's ears perked up at that and was like, oh, the expanse, really? Yes, okay, I see.
I think they should have hearkened back to the never-ending story and said, "We have to go into the nothing."
Oh,
Remember
yes.
that movie?
That would have been an awesome reference.
Although
Absolutely.
I do think
Let me just say, absolutely, they were. I think it's a reference to Enterprise 3. Most people have thought that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Who's talking?
No, I was just going to say that I think they were setting themselves up for the brilliant line of, okay, we're entering the haunted house. That was so story applicable. They couldn't go with a different reference there.
Okay, Captain Trek, you were going to say something?
No, I was just going to say
Captain
that.
Fandom Nerd. Sorry.
I was just going to say that I hadn't even considered the Expanse. I was just considering the Star Trek Expanse thing that they dealt with before.
All right, so I had a question.
Go ahead.
Did I miss it, or did they, when they said the Expanse and then they have to fly through? Do we know how far this is with almost no stars? Like, was this it? This episode, and then they're through the.
No, they gave an actual
Expanse, or
measurement.
is this going to be like a season-long thing? Okay.
No, they gave an actual measurement, but I don't remember it. But it was big.
Yeah.
So what we got to do, we got to think about this black void. So it can't just be empty space, because you would see, like the Hubble Space Telescope, you just see stuff farther past. So it's got to be like some kind of dust cloud or something that actually obscures the light.
Yeah, there's an obstruction, and if they play it, and hopefully if they play it right, that obstruction is really, really big.
And at the end, they did mention that I forget the term, Starfleet Command or whatever said, okay, we're going to pull back. This is too dangerous. We're going to take it a little bit slower. So it did kind of set the stage for, not immediately going back in and staying in there next episode or whatever. And it goes back to what I was saying about hubris before. They realized they got slapped down and they need to, think this through a little bit better.
You do. All of you have. I kept this out of my commentary, but I'll throw it in there now because we're thoroughly into it. uh, this was almost a 1-to-1 example of the Enterprise D meeting the Borg.
Mm-hmm.
There were similarities. Yes, absolutely. I saw that too.
Yeah, and that's why I think this is going to be the big bad, because the conversion from whatever to that species, it doesn't look like it's reversible, which is great, because that actually raises the stakes, and now you actually feel danger.
Yeah, there's an actual biological assimilation going on, right?
Yes.
You could make the argument too that again, this kind of harkens back not only to the Borg but species 8172, right? So you have the electronic, Borg, the literal cyborgs, and you have the biological, invading force.
It's funny you mentioned species 8472 because I was reminded of both of those at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let me just before we continue, let me just introduce to somebody we have backstage, and of course, fashionably late. But I told her to come a little bit later. So, welcome to Maria from T.
Everyone stand, a lady's entering.
Welcome, Maria.
Hi. Hey, everybody.
Greetings.
Yes, I said, should I make my entrance? Yeah.
Well, I know that you stayed up, and watched this as soon as it came out, right?
Yeah, I did.
You want to give us your initial rating of this episode?
I think I was like, do I stay up late? Because I was pretty tired. But at the same time, I think that everybody was anxious to get to that second one to kind of, everybody was curious on whether it was going to move from where it ended, and I knew that they would. I was just curious to see how it was going to transition, but it went from 0 to 60 pretty quick. From the beginning, all of a sudden they're like, "What the heck is that?" So I loved it because that's just my thing. I mean, that thing actually. It actually was kind of creepy. It was a cross between the Predator and the Fly all rolled up into one, and my ex-boyfriend, and I rolled up into one, and I was like, oh my god,
She did not say which one, guys. Just
she's
not naming anybody.
Not naming any names, but his initials are
Nothing.
so
no initials.
But it would it was nice to have that. It gave everybody exactly what they were looking for. The being able to go on, and there was just so many nice surprises on there. There was a few little tiny one-liners that really got to me, that stood with me for a little while, and I don't want to take up all your time, but I know you guys have moved on. And it was when Dr. Finn's ex, which I kind of had a feeling something was going on there. By the way, I know that look on a woman's face when you mention a guy's name and you're like,
yeah.
I was like, oh boy. When he went in to talk to Isaac, and then he had mentioned about him missing her, and he said he felt the same. The way he said it, so android like, but I was like, oh my god. So it's got me thinking, he does. And he answered everybody's question on whether or not he's feeling, because how does he know that void? How does he understand it? So it really kind of shook me on that, just that one little line. And he said he felt the same, but I think it was great. It was kind of gross, the part where, where she was so close to all those eyeballs inside of it. But my thing was this. You're going into a place that is unfamiliar. You have no idea. Nobody's been there. And although you scan no signs of life, would you actually go in not protected. So it shocked me for them to just waltz right in with no gear, no nothing. I was like, what the heck? Because you just don't know. And so that kind of surprised me. And they suited up after after the fact, but I was surprised they didn't do it beforehand. Anyway.
Yep.
Really quick, guys. Yes, this was written by Brandon Braga, and you could tell Brandon Braga's signature was on it.
Yep.
Good stuff.
This is Burr's channel. Please go ahead and make sure you're subbing to it. And Burr, I know there's a little bit of lag. If you want to, sometimes if you leave and come back, it improves, but it's up to you. So you can jump out and jump back in if you want. What are you talking about, Willis? Says we can read it. Yeah, aliens plus the 5 plus 8472 and board.
Well, okay, if we're gonna put all that in, it was also part zombie show.
Sure.
A little bit, kind of.
The mutating thing always grosses me out. I had a dream once where these like spiders were crawling out of my skin and all their little legs started showing first. And I was like, oh my God. That's kind of what it's just ew. Sorry.
Jim says, and Jim just got here a little while ago. 8 was his rating. Let me ask this question to everybody in the chat, everyone in the chat, every single person. If you are in the chat, unless you are driving, please don't text and drive. Unless you're driving, please answer this question while we run through it with the panel. Starting with Maria, I'm asking this question. Maria, did you like, and you have to pick one, did you like this second episode more or the first episode more? And why?
That is a tough question, PJ, because you know how I am about feelings and all that, the mushy and the heartfelt and deal and all, so the first one was nice.
Sorry, Maria, let me just stop you one sec. I apologize. Burr, take care. Burr's told me he has to leave all of a sudden. Thank you, Burr, for joining us. It was an honor to connect, my friend, and you're always welcome back.
Thank you. I will try. It's like the last 2 days of school, so my daughter's having.
I hear you. I've been going through that too. Thank you, Burr. You're welcome back anytime, my friend. All right. So, sorry, Maria. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's all right. You
Which
gotta
one
do
would
what
you
you gotta
pick?
do. Oh gosh. I'm gonna have to go with 2. The second one, I really enjoyed it. It just was it was just my thing. I'll just use that short version.
Okay.
Like the second one.
Captain Fandom Nerd with his Thor-like wavy long hair.
I would have to say the second episode, and I'm not a horror fan.
Okay. Excellent. Peter Gatsis, George. Did you like the first one or the second one better? Maybe George has stepped away.
No, I'm right here.
Gotcha.
I rated the first one better than the second one, but I like the second one better than the first one.
Gotcha. And now that you said that, wait, you like the second one better than the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you said that, I would say the exact same thing. I rate this one a 9. I rated the first one 9.5, but I think I had more fun in this one. And
yes,
let me just say, I hope that the Seth and the production crew. I think one of the best things about the Orville was having fun, and I definitely had more fun. I thought the first episode was a great experiment, but I thought that this one was more fun. And it felt more like what we knew the Orville to be. So that's why
exactly. The first one was too much walking around and standing around. This one, they're running, jumping, standing. They're doing everything. They're full calisthenics.
Okay. Pranikash and Matt, what would you say? First one or the second one? What'd you like better?
Well, for me, it's obviously the first one, because the first one made me cry, and there's very few shows where I'm going to actually start crying. So that since they hit the emotion bone and kept it there for the whole second half of the show, I'm like, okay, that's why I give that the first one an 11.
Okay.
So I have one criticism of the first show.
Yeah.
Is that there's no way in heck the air traffic controllers would let Gordon do that dog fight.
Right.
around
I
the
thought
whole-
that too.
I mean, they would have said, would you please like fly about 100 kilometers away and play your games there?
Yeah.
I was thinking the
So, but
same.
other than that, everything else in the show was, I thought, was
Unless
perfect.
they're doing things on a level. See, it occurred to me too that they might be doing things on a level of safety, that they may have a lot of confidence in the level of safety of what they're doing, because
They would never do that. I mean, they were kind of hearkening back to the very first Orville episode where he was screwing around in the shuttle with Captain
Yeah,
Ed and doing
that's
the
true.
same kind of crazy stuff. But like, no way are you going to do a dogfight shooting at drones flying around, in an airport, basically.
Yeah. Papa Pacelli, did you like the second one or the first one better?
I have to agree with Maria. It's kind of unfair. It's a little apples and oranges ish, right? I love horror. I do. And I was blown away by the Cronenberg-esque body horror here, but the emotional character development wins out with me every single time. There was even an element to that first episode that I felt was another little dig at modern Star Trek, and that was the resolution to episode 1, where he gets the idea for how to find the back door to bring him back and whatnot, and it seemed to hearken to what they did with Picard and Data and the molecule or whatever that had all of his memory in it. I'm like, that made no scientific sense. Whereas this was like, yeah, we know what you meant to say. You meant to do it like this, that's how I felt. So that also kind of was the cherry on the sundae for me.
Gotcha. Let's check out what the chat is saying. We posed this question in the chat. Time Prophet says the first episode was better for him. Okay.
Yeah.
Rapunzel says, like them both. They were different episodes. They were very different. Yeah, they were very different episodes. Absolutely. Medallion says, I felt the first episode was overall better, more consistent. Second episode was entertaining, but lacking in coherent logic. Got you. So actually, that's kind of what George and I said too, right?
Yep.
I would say that kind of fits what we said, right, George?
Yep, that's right.
I think I'd agree. Episode 1 is better. It goes a lot deeper into its themes, says Ben Thatcher. Thank you, Ben. Good to see you. Netter says, since I haven't seen the second episode one, okay, that's great. I can only go by what the other people have said. As I said earlier, episode 1 showed how much words can have serious consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point, Netter, and I'm glad you phrased it that way, because I do think we need to be responsible for what we say. And there's a lot of stuff going on social media and in the media where people are just very raw in everything they say. And in that episode, Marcus was very raw in how he was talking to Isaac. Obviously, he was very upset, but
with very real consequences.
Yes, real consequences. Thank you, Troy. Maria. I once knew a girl named Maria, says Weekly Roundup. Episode 2 is great, but it's very simple, says Ben Thatcher. Okay. I think Matt's going to play the Maria song. Is that right?
I already did.
Yep.
Oh, okay. We're gonna have to do a stream one day where Matt's just playing accompaniment
In the
of our
background.
conversation. Episode 1 is better sci-fi because it's more about exploring complex issues. Episode 2 is just a thriller story. Okay. The first episode is very heavy, less fun to be had. And second is more horror, thrill, excitement, but was shallow and not as well thought out. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of, basically what we were saying. It's a good thriller story, but it doesn't really take it very far. Yeah, let me just say the first episode, even though it was a darker tone, the themes in the first episode were very well presented, for sure. I do like the mystery of the new aliens and that gorgeous space station. Yeah. By the way, well, let me just finish. While I finish these comments up about what the chat thought, I want you guys on the panel to think. What do you guys think? This is the next question for you guys. So think. Maria's hard thinking there. She's thinking hard. What do you guys think is going to be happening with the krill? That's my question to you as I finish up these comments. What's going to be happening with the krill? Each has their strengths and weaknesses, says Medallion. I love both. Hey, good to see you, Jill. I love both, but I'm a huge fan of science fiction shows that tough on complex issues. So I'd say the first episode is better, but this was fun. 9.5 for the first one, 8.5 for the second. Thank you, Jill. Thanks for including the rating in there. When tragedy strikes AN1, it's a character we actually care about, other than Nurse Kim, who I will miss. The stakes weren't there for people we lose. I thought Nurse Kim died in. I wasn't clear to me if he died in that episode a while back. I guess not. In the Second World War, hotshot pilots used to fly close to the airfield while training. Okay. The only way I can think to justify the dogfight is if weapons were modified, like laser tag. Okay, if they weren't hot,
clearly weren't.
But the thing is, I mean, forget about whether you're hitting them with stray laser beams. I mean, just the collision problems is enough danger. That's what I was saying. Like the air traffic controllers would be pulling their hair out. Like, what the hell is this guy doing?
You want to give us 10 seconds of shredding that guitar, Matt?
Well, actually, I'm really not that good on guitar.
We won't know the difference. We won't know.
Well, we were doing Maria, but I mean, so. Well, I was doing whatever that theme was.
Yes, you were at the beginning of our hey, Mr. Templeton.
Here, I'll tell you what. I'll hit a chord with the whammy bar. This is a Bigsby, so it's classic.
Nice.
Right. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Doesn't get better than that.
Great. Let's start out with George down below. George, what do you think is going to be happening with the krill in the next few episodes?
It's going to be a bait and switch. Everybody's going to come together to take on a big bad, and the big bad, I think we have seen a hint of it, but it won't come to fruition until, say, in the second half of the season.
Could be.
So you think this is the big bad? Do you think this one's the big bad?
No, we got a hint of the big bad.
Okay.
In fact, that ship that came in at the end, we don't even know what the scale is to the Orville. These ships are hanging out in this complete, dark space, and that dark space, I think, is actually an obstruction of something even bigger. So we could be looking at something on the scale of what they've encountered was, say, nanobots or something like that.
Okay. Now wait a minute. Now that we mentioned that ship, so I mean, maybe they just beamed back their transporters.
Yeah, well, we don't know what kind of tech they have.
If that was the case, then the story wouldn't have ended in such a way. They would have been decimated at that point.
Now, as far as the krill, I thought we saw a teaser that had like a giant statue, which was like a statue of Avis or something like that. Am I right about that?
In the trailer, in the teaser.
Yeah. So that means the krill we're going to have some involvement with them. I'm assuming they're going to be our allies for a while.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much said it in this episode, right? That we're going to be allies until the Kaline are defeated, something like that.
Yeah, and maybe they'll be the allies to fight these alien fly monsters.
Gotcha. What about you, Troy?
Well, I was going to say, consider this. They're fine with, they see the benefit currently of being our allies, right? They didn't care for the idea of, going and messing with something they warned them about, right? I could imagine this actually resulting in the breaking up of the detente, right? Because they're going to come out of this and say, we told you not to go there and you did it anyway. You woke up this sleeping giant, to heck with you,
Here's a prediction. I think the was it the Kaline will be the delivery weapon for these for the big bad.
I just had another idea. Is the thing with the fly monsters, the reason why the krill never went there is like maybe they really do need host DNA for them to propagate. So now they got some human DNA, and now suddenly their whole race can sort of come back alive again.
Maybe.
Okay. Captain Fandom, what any thoughts about the krill? What's going to be happening with the krill?
Honestly, I want to just slap Troy because that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oops.
Violence.
But no, I think we're going to hear from them fairly soon. As far as, okay, we warned you. Now, there's going to be some consequences.
Yeah. Yep, agreed.
I like what you okay, Cap? You were gonna say something else? No, okay.
No.
I like what Rapunzel said. There's gonna be ups and downs for sure. By the way, but before I ask Maria this question as well about what's coming up with the krill, let me just say, after this, all these demons were in the krill legends in the Ancana. I freaking want to read the Ancana now. Like, I want to know like everything that's in the Ancana because it's all going to be there's a lot of historical truth in there. What about you, Maria? What do you think about the krill?
I think the krill are very intelligent. I think my theory would be that although they warned them, they know, and they're intelligent enough to know how they would probably see that as a challenge, and knowing that they would just go in anyway. I think they obviously. You can't trust the krill. Sorry, you just can't. Even though they were sitting there talking, trying to get along, you could tell it was one-sided, that it was killing them to try and be nice for a moment. I just think that there's just something there. They're too brainwashed. They're too embedded in their ways, and there's just they're always scheming. And so I just think that they're going to use them for what they need and then be done with them.
I have another theory.
Go ahead.
What if there was some kind of krill prophecy that somebody on the Orville is going to fulfill, like maybe Dr. Finn or one of the crew, or maybe Kelly or somebody like that ends up being sort of a Paul Muad'Dib or something like that.
Okay.
There's a lot of ways we can go with this.
There are a lot of ways we can go with this. Yeah, and wouldn't it be funny, guys, if Maria, real life Buddhist priestess / actress, actually played someday a krill priestess on the Orville? Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be cool.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Do you have? I know you got your priestess robe for, but imagine having a krill priestess robe.
That would be interesting. And it wasn't like I wasn't thinking about it. I wonder if they had one, how would they design it?
Troy, you wanna elaborate on this comment?
Yeah. So there was some talk about this whole the darkness and so on and so forth. And I was thinking, more things in heaven and on earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy, Horatio. And there was talk of these demons, and we saw the demons and the possession, but they said something about portals, and we haven't seen any portals yet. And when you have this body horror type stuff, generally in these kinds of films, you start thinking, yeah, these aren't the big bad, they're the foot soldiers. What is the big bad, right? And I'm sorry, I don't remember which person in the panel brought up the idea of like a Galactus type of character. Well, Galactus, as he's described in the comics, is a multi-dimensional creature, and we're only perceiving, our three-dimensional avatar of him, right? And I'm thinking there's some portals opening up to some, cosmic horror, Lovecraftian realm, where the upside down, so to speak, for those of you Stranger Things fans, and it's looking for a foothold in our universe. Possibly also feeding on, all the stars in that sector and whatnot. Yeah. Blinding, blocking out the sun from what's on the other side. Yeah, I think there's going to be some big story potential here.
But the krill are very sensitive to sunlight, right? Are they not?
I had
Yes, they
forgotten
are.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so for them, a blackness would be almost a good thing for them, I would think. Has it been explained why they're so sensitive? Like, did they live underground on their planet, or was it shrouded in clouds or something? Or
I think it's their atmosphere, if I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
okay.
Yeah, like Todd says, I like how the krill were like, do not hope too fervently. Once the Kalan are across, the alliance will be dissolved. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just putting up with us.
Yeah. Hello, Phantom Outsider. Good to see you. Good to see everybody in here, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for taking the time to talk some Orville with us. Hello, Richard. Good to see you. Their homeworld is 96% covered in clouds. Yeah, it was the
Okay.
atmosphere. I don't know the details, but Todd is our resident encyclopedia in the chat. Thank you, Todd. I think the Union and the Krill would defeat the Kalan, and then the Krill were asking the Union for help against the demons. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. What was let's see. See that we've had all indications that that there's a big episode coming up with episode 3. And let me just check one thing.
Do we have a runtime on that?
On episode 3?
Yeah.
I'm about to check that, and I'll meanwhile, I want let's see. Troy, let me just run through this so far. Starting from Troy down. Troy, is this what you expected in season 3, or was it different than you expected?
I had no idea what to expect. So I went in with no expectations. I wasn't sure if they were going to focus more on the timey-wiminess, if they were going to go more on the Kalan. Seems like they're going a very different way, and I have no problem with that. I think that's a good thing. There's this is unlike Star Trek. Star Trek has, almost, 60 some years, 70 years of lore to draw on, whereas we've only got 3 seasons, 2 seasons and 2 episodes of lore to draw on. So they can go anywhere they want with this. And I'm going to step away for a second.
Okay. What did you, Matt? What did you think about? What did you think about where this is going? Is it what you expected in season 3?
I don't know. I mean, we've been following what it's going to be, so we've been kind of primed that it's going to be like a bunch of mini movies, you know, and they're going to up the production value and everything. And so I don't know. I'm not really. I wouldn't say I was shocked. That's for sure. I mean, it's kind of is what I expect to see. But Of course, I've been following it closely, so I've gotten all the hints of what it would be. Yeah, I like it.
George, is this what you expected in season 3, or is it different?
No, it's right up there with my expectations in terms of cinematography, quality of presentation. You know, it looks like a well polished episode. The actors seem more relaxed um, in the roles now.
Mhm.
Before it was also the writers too. It's in the there's minimal minimal dialogue uh, in these 2 episodes, and I expect the minimal dialogue to continue. And it's more in the actors acting and than anything else, and that's actually amazing. I mean, the doctor, she had minimal dialogue, but you know, she emoted a lot in her presence, in her physical acting, and that was great. I think that's what's gonna. I think that's what we're looking at here is that everyone's comfortable. The writers are comfortable. They understand their mission, and they don't need to overburden you with like Next Generation, or like not the original Star Trek series, but Next Generation, and up. They hit you with so much techno babble. It's ridiculous. Why don't you just say, well, it's that thingamajig over there doing that whatchamacallit, and that's why we're able to survive this big bad thing. It's just as valid.
PJ, I was gonna say too.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was any significance in like what George was saying, but the I noticed that they did focus a lot, like close up angles, camera wise, on Dr. Finn quite often, and I don't know. I was it just me or did anybody else catch that? It was like just her really close up as if we were to feed on that emotion for
With Claire?
some, yeah,
But
Dr.
also in the
Finn.
first episode too, right?
Yeah, with Dr. Finn. I mean, I know this is going to sound geeky, but
No.
to me, it just stood out. It just stood out that they really focused, like the close-up shots of
I
right
really
there.
noticed too that there was there was some really good there was some really good close-ups of Dr. Finn
Hmm.
to capture her you're right, her emotion, her everything. It was actually I thought I didn't mention it, but I was thinking it while I was watching it. It was very evident. Yeah. Anybody else on that point? Anybody want to comment on that?
I just are you thinking, Maria, that maybe there is intended to be some sort of a special focus on her, like she's meant to be our audience insert sort of character? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to bounce off you guys, or maybe if it was just me, but to me, it was a bit obvious. It, it just seemed obvious to me that it was almost intentional, like right there. I'm not sure if it was just me or if anybody else caught that. It made it more like you were impacted more with it, with that. Oh, there you are.
Sorry.
And I don't know if that was the only reason for it or if there was something else behind it. But I don't know. It was just it really it caught my eye.
Captain Trek, I didn't want to. I mean, Captain Fandom Nerd, I didn't want to jump over you. What did you want to answer that question? What did you? Was it what is it what you expected or?
You're muted.
Is this what you expected? Yeah, you're muted.
Yep.
No, honestly, it's more than I expected.
More.
More. But considering the fact that we're talking about going from where they were to being on Hulu and you know, having a bigger, it just the whole thing just seemed, more. So yeah, I was expecting that.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Isn't it great to have Captain Trek, a Captain Phantom Nerd on camera?
Yeah.
It is.
I'm
you
sorry.
and Loki, I'm gonna have to slap you both.
You're so violent.
Yeah, he's so
God.
slapping.
He's so quick with the slap. Jeez.
I
You're
said
so-
slap, not punch.
You're so
You're
spicy.
so Will Smith.
Speaking of PJ, real quick, has
Yeah.
anybody asked if they were going to, and I haven't heard Tom mention it or stuff, but any plans? We heard that they might be going 4K.
Ooh.
I thought I saw a tweet where Tom Constantino said it was 4K.
You mean what they're streaming now is in 4K?
Yeah.
I think it's originally filmed in 4K. I think.
Okay, so maybe that's what he said. I think that's
they
what he
filmed
meant,
it.
but maybe it's not broadcast in 4K.
Probably not, because my TV's still saying it's, I think, 1080p.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
that brings up
about that. But go ahead, Matt.
That brings up a big discussion. Because, 4K is cool because it's, 4K. But,
Yeah.
I always think, well, do I really want to see every single wrinkle and every single zit on the actors' faces?
It's not about the zits.
But I
It's
also
about
was
the
thinking,
experience,
the
because
thing is, too, I mean, if you're broadcasting in 4K, then all the props and all the makeup and everything has to be even that much better. Like already, if you look closely at the krill, you can see that it's foam, right? And it's makeup. But so if you make it even higher resolution, then you're like, oh boy, it's gonna make it even harder to make it look realistic.
Then they need to switch to silicone. They have to.
Yeah.
I just think
So-
that they just, I mean, like I was saying in my review, that I absolutely was just blown away with the color and the lighting and everything. It looks
beautiful.
so awesome, I mean, but
Oh,
Oh,
that.
dang it. Okay.
sorry, Maria. Go ahead.
Yeah.
right, when you have 4K, it's just kind of like really, I don't know. I mean, for me, I see the difference from 1080p, 4K. When you have that kind of system, it just makes it like you're there, like you're right in the ship with them.
Yeah.
So
It's like, well, I don't want to derail the whole conversation, but when I got a new TV a while ago, or flat screen, it was really high resolution, but I hated it because I'd look at all the shows and everything looked fake. It looked like a bunch of actors on a set. And I had to find a whole bunch of, I went through that thing until I finally got a kind
The
of a
setting.
cinematic setting.
you
Where
have the soap
everything-
opera setting is why.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
stuff finally looked more
Real.
theatrical
I get that.
again,
Yeah.
Let me just say, guys, that the next episode is called Mortality Paradox. Again, the reason we're not doing a complete breakdown of the episode is because this is more just of a reaction stream. I think it's early. I think we're gonna want to wait and break this down later on with who knows, maybe with a guest. I think we want to break the episodes down later on once they've all aired. So we're going to keep doing these reviews, reactions. I'm sorry, these reactions / reviews, initial reactions.
Can I do a reaction?
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to play something for us, Matt?
No. Well, I don't know. I mean,
He's
I
all
do a little
modest.
recital. I don't want to take over the show.
Were you playing like spooky music on your cello when you were watching the show?
No, I was just watching the show. All right, whatever. Just like real quick.
Sure. Give us some. Give us what it
Well,
was.
you want something spooky?
So give us something spooky
Okay,
while
hold
we
on,
think
Jim.
about Shadow Realms.
How's that?
Yay!
Nice.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Don't get me started. I won't stop.
Can you play the Orville theme song?
Well, let's see. Let's see if we can.
There you go.
Now do Freebird.
I can play the Orville theme song, but I'm not going to do it today.
Okay, let me
because
do that. Now we're going to do one final thing. So tell me what this is.
Go ahead.
I know that.
Sounds really familiar.
That was supposed to be Cashmere.
Oh, okay.
You know, Let's Zeppelin.
Awesome.
Okay, putting the cello away now.
All right, guys. So let's see. I'm going to ask everybody in the chat, what was the one thing? A medallion guessed it. There you go. Led Zeppelin, House of. Okay. I want to ask everybody in the chat this question, and then we're going to go around the panel to finish up. What is the one thing you most liked about this episode in the chat? What was the one thing you most liked in the chat about this episode? What was the one thing that was best about this episode to you? And let me start with Captain Fandom Nerd. What was the number one thing you liked best about this episode, Cap?
I like the look of the ship, the whole new look, how things just look and feel, and the episode itself was just amazing.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the look of the ship is amazing. Absolutely. Go ahead, Matt Pranakasha. What was the one thing you most liked about this episode?
Well, I got distracted because someone when he's asking for the internet shirt yoga theme. But okay. So in this episode, the thing that I liked the best would be shoot. I don't know. I guess it was probably when Isaac and the Admiral were comparing notes on what's it's like having Dr. Finn as their girlfriend.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to interject and share mine right here before I ask Maria. I thought Tala kicking butt was one of my favorite parts of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
We needed that. We were waiting for that.
That was a very interesting sequence, and it was we wanted her to kick butt, but we didn't want her to get sprayed in the face by that junk. So Maria, what about you? Don't laugh, Maria. Don't laugh. This is a family show, Maria.
Yeah.
This is a family show.
I didn't say anything. My
Maria
gosh.
Shinzai.
What?
All right.
You guys are a bad influence on me.
I didn't say anything. What I was thinking was that
Yeah, we know what you were thinking.
my
Go ahead,
favorite,
tell us.
my favorite. Actually, I
Matter's
got.
giggling.
I get really. Listen to that. I'm trying to make a point here.
What would you most like about
I did.
this
I'm trying to
episode?
tell you. I'm trying to get it out of my mouth.
Okay.
My most. Okay. What I like.
You would think Maria T and Talks a Lot would have no problem getting it out of her mouth.
Okay, there's got to be some Zen technique that can like just.
I'm trying.
Cap, do you need to
Oh,
say
there you go.
something?
What
Mhm. Wait.
what I liked, actually, it was actually I was very impressed with the creepy crawly thing, to be honest. With the first time he came out in the hall, just when you saw just the silhouette, I was all, whoo!
Monster.
That I knew that it was going to get exciting. But yeah, that see the way it was climbing on the walls and all that, I liked that. It was fun.
Okay, great. Cap, you wanted to say something? You're muted.
Just counting the snorts.
Oh,
Yeah.
And before I ask Troy, Matt, were you about to juggle? Was that what you were going to do?
No, these are rose quartz crystals, which I was gonna hand over to Maria to help her
Oh yeah.
Zen thing right there without that friendly energy in them.
Thank
But
you.
anyhow, can I revise my answer?
Yeah.
Okay, my new answer is the thing I liked is how they teased us with Alien, where like he was looking into the pod, and I really thought it was a face hugger was gonna jump out and get him.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a tease.
Mhm.
Then when he starts rolling around on the floor, I really expected his stomach to open up with an alien coming out.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen. So both times they were teasing us. They're like, we're doing an alien reference, and let's see how far we're gonna go with it.
Right.
So for me, that's what was going on in those two scenes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very interesting. Let me just say, guys, really quick, if anybody from the Orville production crew is listening to us, yes, we are being very nitpicky nerds. that's what we do, but we love this episode. And let me just say, for the Orville fandom, that compared to everything else that is out there, the Orville is way above anything else that's out there, and we love it. I love it. And with that said, I want to ask. I'm going to ask George first. Troy, Georgie boy.
Hands down, very simple. The creature design.
Yep.
Okay, the creature design. Gotcha. And for somebody who designs a lot of creatures in drawing form, and George, we'd love to watch you draw sometime on the stream if you want.
It's been a while.
It has been.
Okay, we'll arrange something. You know.
Okay.
Did anybody else real quick notice, did you guys already talk about when that thing opened up? I had a feeling that he breathed something in because you saw just a little bit of poof. Did anybody else see that?
Oh, okay. I didn't see
It
it.
was subtle,
Yeah.
but yeah.
It was subtle.
I picked that up too.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, did he just breathe something?
Yeah.
Was there some spore?
Yeah, I
So
was
there
like,
was that question.
that's why I
Good job.
wasn't surprised when he started convulsing and stuff. I'm like, yeah, he got something because it was really subtle. It wasn't this big old, it was just so subtle, but I noticed that.
Which of course underpins the whole why weren't you wearing an environmental suit, you know?
And you know what? Now that you mentioned that, so it was an alien reference too, but it was also a Star Trek reference because we have a couple Star Trek episodes like that where like a little flower poofs
Yep.
something in your face
Right.
and something happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Troy, go ahead. What did you most like about this episode?
You know, I do have to say that wrong direction, that George came very close to what I was thinking, but it was less the creature design so much as the makeup. Is this Howard Berger that did the makeup on this episode?
I don't know.
That's okay. It's really good. And you know how I am with that stuff, with doing all the Klingon stuff myself, you know,
For sure.
just loving that. This was obviously some very involved.
Yeah.
And although we're not seeing an actual metamorphosis, we are seeing it in stages.
Yeah.
Gosh, I loved it. It was awesome.
It
And you know, I mentioned earlier the whole Cronenberg-esque body horror thing. He even says, I'm scared. Right. And they were quick to, are you in pain? No, I'm not in pain. It's much more existential than that. It's not physical pain. It's the horror of what's happening to him. That was great.
Absolutely. Medallion says the one thing he liked most was the alien space station. He or she, excuse me. I don't know if they're he or she. The alien space station inside and out. Gorgeous CG, gorgeous practical sets, says Medallion. Rapunzel, I like the Jurassic Park scene with the kids in the mess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so
Hiding from
great.
Velocira. Yeah, I mean Spider Demon. Yeah, that's funny, Rapunzel. It was very much, yeah. It was very much a Jurassic Park scene.
I was waiting for the Jello one.
Right.
Writer Brothers, I like that the doctor's best option at reducing loss of life was to threaten extermination.
Yeah.
Okay. That is Red Brothers. By the way, Writer Brothers,
Writer
don't forget to put in your channel. Make sure you guys, I want all the creators in the chat to make sure they're putting in their channels, and everybody on the panel, make sure they're putting in their channels during the stream, please. We want everybody to sub to you guys. Best part was the end credits. Funny, Mr. Joe, Mr. Weekly Roundup. The one thing I most liked about this episode, Tala kicking ass and yeeting monsters across the shuttle bay. Yeah, me too, Todd.
Yeah.
Me too, Todd. And yes, Tala opening a jar of pickled whoop ass. Yeah, exactly. Orville next week. You got to play the Orville theme on the xylophone. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I will end up playing it at some point, but not on something else.
Hold on. What's a stylophone?
I don't know what the stylophone is. I thought maybe he meant a xylophone, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
A cross
is that
between
like
a sax and a style. Just kidding.
is that like a xylophone on your iPhone? I don't know. With an app? I don't know. Phantom Outsider, I like the entire episode overall. One thing that stood out that I didn't like, the fact that they didn't address how many crew members they lost. They were lost to expand the borders of knowledge. Yeah, I you know what? One thing that the Orville has done is that they might typically that's something that they might address in a following episode. Even though they're standalone episodes, but yeah, we don't know how many they lost. 5 storms in 1 minute. Have been a very nice touch though. Maria liked the pretty colors. Yeah.
De colores.
I know. Yeah, Maria always likes the pretty colors. Yeah, of course he's kidding. 5 I'm not sure what that means. 5 SPM. All right, guys. Climbing on the walls was done in Enterprise. Yeah, with the what are they called? The Zulaban. They were chased by Spider-Man. That was another thing that was very cool. Yeah. I thought Matt pulled out some bush oysters. Doing whatever Spider-Man can.
Hey, I don't even know what a bush oyster is. Can someone explain that to me?
I think this gentleman is from down under. So I think that's what he means. I enjoyed the tropes references they fit into one episode, wink to the fans, and still told a fun, scary story. Yeah, this was a fun episode. This was a like I said in the old days, like you'd watch X-Files with the lights off. It's just a fun episode to enjoy. Nitpicking is so much fun. I may love the episodes, but I look forward to dissecting them as such. Yeah, we will end up dissecting them more down the road. And of course, Jill, put in your channel, please, Jill. Jill is doing a review as well on Tuesdays. So she will, I think it's on Tuesday, right, Jill? Can you confirm that? No, I married and she turned into the creature of the Orville. Okay.
Can we ask Jill what an antiderivative is? Is that an integral?
Jill, what is the name of antiderivative, Jill? Where does it come from? That's a question from Matt. But what are we going to call these aliens? I don't think they have a name for them, right, guys?
I don't think they came up with them. Well, it's the first time they came across them. I can't imagine they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's the...
They might end up finding that there is a more specific name in the Ancana, perhaps. But love when Dr. told Kelly might not want to touch anything. Yeah. Yeah, that's... They didn't stop the alien with a soup ladle.
Soup ladle.
Time Prophet's channel, guys. Make sure you are subbed to Time Prophet. The Orville New Horizons spared no expense for sure. That is very clear. Antiderivative Jill, that is her channel. They were reviewing on Tuesdays, I think. Guys, this is Captain Phantom Nerd's channel. And Captain, while we're here, what is coming up next on your channel?
Well, tomorrow I have Mexican Iron Man coming on Morning Brew.
Nice.
Oh, cool. Awesome. What are you guys talking about? Any topic?
Well, there's going to be a couple topics, so I can't say too much. So.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Surprise.
NDA.
Surprise. Are you guys talking Orville at all?
I'm sure we will.
Oh, okay, cool. Monsters, did I just have a story? I meant monsters. Okay. Troy's channel, guys. Troy Papelli. Papa Papelli, what is coming up next on your channel? I think it's tomorrow night.
Yep, tomorrow night I'm going to have a sit down and an interview with a very special guest, Adega, talking about his projects and his writing and, you know, what his process is. I'll be guesting throughout the week. I'm, of course, on Netter's Network on Saturday, where we will be doing a watch party of The Blues Brothers on Saturday.
Oh, it's a great movie.
And Sunday on Geeky Geezers over on Aged Boomer's channel.
Wow, you're getting around, huh?
So I don't get it. So you can do the
Busy
Blues
man.
Brothers, but you can't do On the Waterfront?
No,
I
go
don't play the film on YouTube. I run it on a simulcast on another platform, and only the commentaries coming through on YouTube.
Okay.
Anybody who's watching along can watch on the other platform.
Yep.
Oh,
And I give the link and all that. Yeah.
yeah.
Stefan is UK Hair Roller Iron that you can play. Okay. Really, one thing I didn't like is that the ship seemed so empty. There should have been people running around the hallways trying to. Yeah, they could have bumped into a few more people, like scared to death, and yeah, that's true. Snorts per minute. Oh, thank you, Medallion. Okay, gotcha. Snorts per minute. Yes, our snort meter is broken. We love the Orville. Yes, Nate. Shh. Nate is at work, guys. Don't tell anybody. He's at work.
I won't say nothing.
Awesome. Really, we got just a little bit further to go, but we have somebody jumping in here in the back, and let me welcome really quick, Mr. Lundell. Good to see you, Mr. Lundell.
Hey. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, I had to watch the episode first. Okay. So,
well, do you want to give us your 2 cents on what would you rate it?
This, 85. It reminded me too much of Alien and
Okay.
probably some other horror sci-fi type movies. I mean, it was dead on. The guy stuck it. I mean, the thing sticking out of the wall. I'm like, face hugger. You know, that was the, and it opened up. I was just waiting for him to have, this big ugly thing wrapped around his head. And then the eye, the way he started changing. Okay, that was a Trek episode, Next Gen. But I have to say, it was done rather well, even though, he copied a lot of stuff. I think he did it rather well.
Okay. What is your general impressions? Did you like it? What did you find? What did you most like about it? What did you least like about it?
What I least liked about it is this should have been a Halloween episode. It was, the darkness, this, these damn things, the running in the ship all up and down walls, and, loved when Tyler kicked butt, so.
Maybe that was the intention. I wonder when it would have been released. If it would have been released in like September, it could have been a Halloween episode.
Yeah.
Good point.
But we're not sure about the order.
Yeah.
If he meant for them to be shown in this order or not. That's the only problem.
Yeah. For sure. What did you most like about?
Most we got a little bit more of Claire's history. That was kind of fascinating. And I think it's going to be interesting. Her and the XO, and a bottle of wine. And I'm just wondering who else is going to end up joining them. For the little, I guess it would be girl talk. I know I'm a guy, but sometimes those conversations, ladies, can be quite interesting for a man.
Yeah, we might actually learn something.
Yeah, trust me.
Now, Mr. Lindell, we asked everybody, did they like this episode more or the first one more? What would you say?
I like the first one more, but that was probably because it had been so long since we had seen it in New Orville. But this one, it was on point. I mean, Seth knows what the hell he's doing. If he's writing these, or if he's got a room of writers, he's trained them. So I'm expecting genius from here on out. I may get disappointed one day, but I think he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's got people. Well, I mean, half the people that gets credit for this are like former Trek, writers and producers. So
yeah, I do think he knows what he's doing, and he's got a great team around him.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the best. What are you going to say, Maria?
My fantasy episode would have been.
This is a children's show, Maria.
Work with me on this.
Okay, what is this?
In
All
my
right,
fantasy,
go ahead. Fantasy, go ahead.
That scene where the thing opened up. My fantasy is that's where we get introduced to the bridge cat because his little head would have popped out, and all of a sudden you got this meow.
Okay. Now,
I'm just kidding.
do you guys the fact that they're a little more serious tone than they were before? Do you think they will? Do you think we'll actually get a bridge cat this year?
In this episode, if there was going to be a cat, it would be one of those gigantic black cats. That one TOS episode.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's fine because ISIS had another form that I really liked. My fantasy, and I won't tell you. Never mind.
Look, mine was children's. It was a cat coming out of a flower. Okay, there we go.
Maria, is the actress is the actor cat who auditions for the Orville Bridge cat? Is he there next to you?
No, he's laying down. He's been since he had this little IRD. It's doing better, but he's sleeping it off right now.
He's sleeping it off. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, with proper camera angles, we could make him do a giant cat.
Yeah.
He is a giant cat. Have you seen him? Oh my god, he's ginormous. But you mean more ginormouser?
I'm talking like 20 feet.
Okay, yeah.
Let me ask you guys this question, and this is just for fun's sake. Is the fact that we had Unk in the first episode, and the tardigrade, and is the fact that they were going to the expanse in this episode? Are we building up to like a major fun poking fun at Trek still in this season 3? What do you guys think about that?
That'd be cool.
You think it's going to happen, Matt?
Sure, why not?
I think it's just going to be a running thing. I don't think they're building up to anything. I think it'll just be part of the shtick. You just have to expect it.
Yeah, I mean they poke fun at Trek every episode.
Yep.
Just being a show about space, and they poke fun at Trek.
More Trek than Trek.
Just by being the Orville. Okay, and so I mean, but did anybody notice the comedy was even a little bit better?
Oh yeah,
this episode.
that was right away.
There was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little comedy mixed with the scary parts and the drama. So
doing it wrong.
He's getting a nice balance of things in there. You know, I'm just waiting for the tearjerker now.
I kind of felt like I got that on the first episode.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Yeah. So the next episode, guys, is, let me just double check again. It's called Proximity. Wait 1 sec. It's called, just I want to make sure I give the right title. It's whoops, my bad. So the next episode is called, I'm sorry, Mortality Paradox. Proximity. I said proximity. Mortality Paradox, and I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to. I could guess there's certain things by looking at the IMDb that you could come to a conclusion about, but I don't want to
Quick
say anything
question.
about it. Go ahead, Matt.
Are you one of these special people that have already seen it?
I am not special. No, I have not seen it. No.
Okay.
No, PJ, you are special. You are special, but maybe not in this specific regard.
Not in this sense, no. But I would say, like, if you go ahead, obviously, what happens was you start poking around the IMDb's, and there's things that pop up that'll say, oh, well, obviously, if these certain roles are there, then you're going to get at least certain amount of content in the story, but we don't really know what the story's about.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it looks really good. It looks really interesting, and Mortality Paradox, and this is the one that JP has been hyping, and not just JP, but a few other people have mentioned about episode 3. Yes, that is JP.
Egotastic fun time.
Yeah.
Now known as Talking the Orville.
All right, guys. Well, I want to end up the stream with final thoughts from each of you. Our furry blue friend down below can start. George Peter, George, when you're not around, I actually, because you're so good at everything you do, I call you George Peter got this. That's what I call you. George Peter got this.
That's good. That's catchy. I'm going to go with that.
Oh my God. That's
Copyright
Not
George,
to take away from your
copyright George Peter Gatsis. Got it. No, I'm looking forward to the next episode. This is good science fiction. Despite my my harsh criticism, it's still good science fiction. It's way better than anything we're presented currently, and I'm going to be really sad when it comes to an end.
Mm-hmm.
When the season 3 comes to an end?
Yeah.
You are. Okay.
Yeah, because
that's why we have to start a campaign for season 4 immediately.
I don't think the campaigns matter. I don't think the campaigns matter. Seth MacFarlane has so much leverage, so much content in his arsenal. The campaigns is just a barometer of social media, but it doesn't sway the needle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know that Seth and Tom Constantine are both saying we want to do another season, but I mean, you got to see the popularity, and we got to see the numbers, and
yeah, but they're not. They can't. The social media numbers are not tangible to the what do you call it, to the analytics that they need. It's tangible within the architecture of Netflix, Hulu, and so forth. That's where the metrics and also the Nielsen ratings, if they even are applicable to this. What we are is just a vocal distraction. But the real numbers, they exist within the network that is showing the stuff.
But what produces those numbers is these pockets of super fans that are out there retweeting and basically helping promote the show all the time.
Yes. Partly.
And that is our mission. We must
do
this.
So George has given his 2 cents. I think what Matt is trying to say is that, and what our channel is trying to say is that we all got to show up in order to show Hulu that they need to give Seth the money that he needs for season 4.
Exactly. You can talk about it here. It's great, but if you don't show up at, watching it at Hulu,
Yeah.
that's where it counts.
That's what counts. Yeah.
And as much as I don't want people to go without seeing the Orville if they can't, like George kind of just hinting at, this is a really good opportunity to not sail the high seas and to actually support the show.
Yeah. Exactly. You want to support the show? Do it with your dollars. You can, talking is cheap. Spending your money, going to Hulu, being a subscriber, watching the show.
Yeah.
That's how you guarantee you'll get more shows coming from Seth MacFarlane.
And watch the episode multiple times.
That's
absolutely.
That's true too.
Supposedly, the Orville was #1 on the Australian streaming thing. Did you see that tweet that Tom put out? Yeah.
I didn't know that, but I'm sure, like, compared to like all the crappy shows like AMH that they have down there, I'm sure that it was probably #1. So, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I love AMH. All right, Captain Phantom Nerd. Final comments. Final thoughts.
I'm just looking forward to seeing more of the show. I've said everything I needed to say. I'm just looking forward to seeing what more is in store for this season.
Gotcha. I'm just blowing you up because I thought you had your eyes closed the whole time you were talking. That's why I wanted to see if you still had your eyes closed.
They're not close.
Thank you, Captain Fandom Nerd. It's such an honor to have you here on camera. We're the only channel, by the way, that gets this privilege. This is like having Nerdrotic, Doomcock, and PewDiePie on all at the same time. So we are honored.
Wow.
Pranakasha Matt, what do you think? What are your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts is I'm already looking forward to next week's episode. And I believe that is JP's favorite one of the ones he's seen, because he is one of those special people that gets to
he
see
did
it
say
ahead
that,
of
right?
time.
He said it was his favorite, right?
Yeah. Also, I'd like to see a lot more presence of the Orville at the conventions. Like, especially if they could somehow get could they just give them a Orville table at Star Trek conventions? Because there's plenty of Star Trek people that like the Orville.
It may be time just to start an Orville con.
Yeah.
Orville con.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Trek conventions. It may be time for an Orville convention.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, Star Trek conventions were started by the fans.
Yes.
So it's time for us to start doing that again for the Orville.
On that note, guys, I do want to say this. My original intention was to do something like that. I don't want to do it that big, but what I think we will end up doing at some point, once we grow the channel a little bit, and once we've seen season 3 and the fandom has grown a little bit, what I think we will do some Orville Nation meetups. Not a big thing, but and let me also say that we actually have been invited to participate in several conventions as our community, as the Orville Nation community.
Cool.
So that is what happened too, was that COVID hit, because we were supposed to do one in Atlantic City, and COVID canceled that. So that has all been on the back burner. But I think it's amazing, the community we have. It's great to have all these friends online. But I also think it'd be great to sit down and have a beer and be face to face for a few days. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you saying, like, at a convention like Comic-Con or something like that, you would have like an Orville Nation table or a booth or something like that, or
a meetup across the street, or depending on the convention?
Both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be fun. I'd be happy to sit in the booth and help man it.
Well, thank you, Michael. That is. I mean, that's something. Thank you, Matt. That's something we should talk about, because we were actually given, when we were doing this part of this other convention, that was canceled during the COVID in Atlantic City, we were actually given more than a table. We were actually given like a part of the convention for
like panels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that they had big plans there, and it never we never really brought it up because right off the bat it got canceled because of COVID. So we never had time to discuss it. But even if and their intention was that even if nobody from the Orville production crew showed up, or cast or anybody, even though we couldn't get anybody maybe at that point, their intention was nevertheless to do a bunch of activities for Orville fandom. So anyway,
that's a great idea. Yeah. Okay.
So final thoughts, Matt?
So are you going to do that then, or not? Because COVID's now backed off a bit.
Yeah. Well, at some point, I want to do meetups, and we'll see.
Okay.
Kind of like the way some of the people in the community have done meetups, and we'll see where it goes from there. But at least like kind of the people we know online to gather together somewhere.
Okay.
So did you? I'm sorry. Go ahead with your final thoughts, Matt.
Well, that's my final thought. Now that's really my final thought is like Orville fandom convention presence where there's like a booth, and people can hang out there and then theoretically start attracting some of the stars to come and so on. I mean, you've got JP who's hooked up with the whole crew and cast. So, I mean, it's got to be a way to make that happen.
I'm sure we could work on something like that eventually. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd be happy to support that.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Maria, any final thoughts on our episode 2?
I don't know. I'm just like everyone else, looking forward to more. Excited to see. As soon as 10 o'clock hits, I'm like already on with the remote control like a fool. I've never been this excited to sit in front of a show to watch as soon as it's able to be on. That's just crazy. So I'm loving it.
Awesome, Maria. Mr. Lundell, what about you? Final thoughts?
I think it's time for all of the fanzines and fan fiction. We've got some people doing Orville fan movies, so we need to really start thinking about like the convention part of it, things like that, and the meetups that I think would show not only Seth but whoever, Hulu, Disney, whoever, that you've got backing for this. You do you put the product out there, people will watch it.
I used to organize events for a living, and one of the things I don't want to do is I don't want to do an event.
Why not?
But I think that. Sorry, Matt.
Why? Are you just sick of it, or?
Well, it can be extremely stressful.
Yeah.
But and it can be risky financially too. But what I do want to say is that the more informal gathering of the fans, like a big huge meetup, I think is a very very good way to start. And by the way, Mr. Rendell, thank you for bringing that up because I was thinking about it too. The fan films, guys, everybody who's listening, by the way, whether you're listening now or on the replay, the fan film policy by Seth and production crew is fabulous. Yes, you can go ahead and actually produce your fan films with apparently close to nothing of interference from the production. So at least that was the policy until very recently, and I think that says a lot. Fans are not going to get sued on their 50th anniversary, like Star Trek. I can't believe Star Trek sued the best fan film on the 50th anniversary. Anyway, What I'm trying to get at is that they have a very Seth has a very different understanding of the fandom. Tom Costantino obviously is extremely representative of a completely different attitude towards the fans, and they're on board. They're promoting, like, for example, Eric the Smokes fan film series, Planetary Step. Yeah. So by the way, those guys, some people think they got off to a slow start, but those guys are going places, and they're actually getting some really good, entertaining content. And watch them. Like, those guys are somebody you got to watch. Don't be surprised if they really go far with that project. Papa Pacelli,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I
Final
think
thoughts.
that I think I really like Phantom Outsider's comment. Orville can be sponsored by Avis. Imagine how many Krill would attend. And
That's good.
even better, I don't know if this joke was intended, but Avis sponsors Orville. Enterprise sponsors Star Trek. So just saying. I'm sorry.
good.
What was the question in front of us?
Now,
What final thoughts? Final thoughts on today's episode?
Final thoughts. Orville is such a white pill for fandom right now. There is just so much of the things that we love just being trashed by the IP holders. And if nothing else, the Orville is made by someone who was a fan of one of those. Actually, many of those IPs. He is a fan. He understands the fans, and he's making something and showing love for the fans. So I think there's a need for us to put our fandom where our pocketbooks are. Support this thing. That's all I got to say.
Absolutely. Maria, you were going to jump in there? No. Okay.
I talked
All right,
too
guys.
much, remember?
I'm just kidding.
Yes.
We all want to hear Maria talk.
No.
By the way, congrats to Maria. What is your channel up to?
Oh, you mean subs?
Like 1,200 or something, right?
Yeah, something. Yeah.
All right.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Guys, I really want everybody to. By the way, if you're on the panel, please put in your channels, guys. Captain Fandom Nerd, how many subs do you need to get to 1,000?
350.
No, you need less than that. It's less. You need 250. 250, right?
It is?
Yeah, you need 250. You're at 750, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at you're
so,
right. I'm at 750. You're right.
Awesome. Mr. Rendell, are you at 1,000?
no, I've only restarted up. I've been over
that's
at
right.
Odyssey for less than a year. I've got less than 300 followers over there now, but it's growing. It seems like every time I upload a movie, I get at least one more follower. So
Awesome. Well, please put in your Odyssey channel. And George, how many subs do you need to get to 1,000? You've already got your hours. So does Captain.
575.
575. Okay. Guys, a little healthy competition here. I think it's good for both of your channels. Last time we did this, both Gil and Maria hit 1,000 really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And Captain Phantom Nerd jumped a little bit. The only one who didn't jump really was Deej. So I want to see. Let's see between George and Captain Phantom Nerd. We want to both see you guys get there. Let's see who gets there first.
Congratulations, George.
No.
Oh gosh.
Let's make it a spectacle. Let's make it a spectacle. And Troy, where are you at? You're on your road to 1,000.
Well, I suppose technically every journey starts with the first step. I am at 430, actually 431 as of today's stream. So somebody subscribe to me.
I am
We're gonna get you
throwing
there.
Troy in that same competition there between Gatsis and Captain Phantom Nerd and Troy. see who gets to 1,000 first.
Congratulations.
I'll make it sweet. I get to the 1,000 first. You can DM me and I'll send you a free comic book.
Nice.
I like
a digital download.
There you go.
Of course.
All right, guys.
Of this character, by the way. This character right here.
I love that.
Oh, that's not you. Oh, it's a character. Okay.
Yeah. That's right. Wait. Let me comb my hair.
All right, guys. So
And
thank you so much for being here, guys, and thank you for your
Yeah.
time. We really appreciated it. Everybody who's watching on the live and the replay, thank you so much, guys. That's pranakasha.com. That's Matt's pranakasha.com, his production company.
Right, and that'll take
And-
you right to the YouTube channel.
Awesome. Everything is there at pranakasha.com. So I want to thank everybody in the chat, guys. I want to thank everybody in the chat. Time Profit, Netter. Don't forget Netter's Network, guys. That's her channel. Time Profit's channel. Make sure you're subbed to everybody. Jill. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Nate. Nate's channel is launching soon. Thank you, Medallion. Thank you, Phantom Outsider. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Jim. Morville, guys. Morville. Thank you, everybody who was in here. Galinda. Thank you so much, Galinda. Good to see you. Rapunzel. Everybody who has been in here, guys. Just scrolling up to see the Fuppets. Thank you, Fuppets. Everybody who has been in here. Let me just see how far I can go up. Todd Lehman. Thank you, everybody. You guys get ready for the weekly roundup as well. Get ready for next week's episode and enjoy this episode. I'm sure most of us are going to be watching it again. Thanks, guys.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Bye-bye.